Assalamu alaikum students. I hope you people are fine and safe. I welcome you all in another lesson of Google Classroom. Before we are going to start our today's lesson, let's recap what we have done in our previous reading. In our previous reading, we have discussed about the Terracotta Army, like how it was found by the farmers in Xi'an in China in 1974, and they found huge statues of soldiers and horses that were the size of the real people and horses. Later on, we got to know that this terracotta army was made by King Shi Hong to protect his tomb, and he started this work when he was 13 years old, and he was died when he was 49. So this is what we have learned in our previous reading, and what we are going to do today. We are going to do the reading of page number 75 and 76. These are the pages which we are going to read today. So what is our learning objective? We are going to learn about the life cycle of silkworm. Okay. A silkworm is really a caterpillar that turns into a moth. Before I am going to explain this thing, just keep in mind one thing. Just keep in mind about the butterfly. How the butterfly turned into a butterfly. It was really a caterpillar that turned into a butterfly, and again butterfly, it lays eggs, then it turned into caterpillar, and finally it turned into butterfly. So the life cycle of butterfly and the life cycle of moth, it is of same thing. Moth, I'm sure you people have idea about the moths. You people saw this in your homes. It is of brownish color type of butterfly, but it actually is not a butterfly. So you can see here, this is moth. So moth, this is how the moth is, and it lays eggs on the leaves, and then the caterpillar came out of those eggs, and later on it will again convert itself back into moth. Now we are going to learn the detail of the life cycle of silkworm. Okay, one thing more, the caterpillar changed into butterfly, whereas silkworm, I'm sure you have idea about the worms as well, they're also a kind of caterpillar, so they turned into moth. So there is a little bit difference between the life cycle of butterfly and life cycle of moth, or the life cycle of silkworm. So we are going to learn about the life cycle of silkworm now. Stage number 1. The moth lays its eggs on the leaves of the mulberry tree. Now the one thing that is special about the moth is that it only lays its egg on the mulberry tree. It didn't lay its eggs on any other tree, because the mulberry tree leaves are big leaves, so they lay their eggs on mulberry tree. This is how the female moth, it lays its eggs on mulberry tree. So this is the stage number 1. Let's see what happened next. Stage number 2, a caterpillar comes out of each egg. So just keep stage number 1 in your mind, and you have idea that the moth, it lays its eggs on mulberry tree. So this is how it lays its egg on mulberry tree, and then from every egg caterpillar, it came out, and this is how the caterpillar, it changed its size, and finally this is the big size and the actual size of the caterpillar that we got in stage 2. Okay, now moving on to stage number 3, which is the most important stage of the life cycle of silkworm. Stage number 3 is the caterpillar makes silk and spins the silk into cocoon. It stays safe in the cocoon. So what happened is, the caterpillar, in the second stage, when the caterpillar, it finally came out of the egg, what happened next is, it stays on a mulberry tree like this, and it spins silk around itself. This how it spins the silk around itself. As you can see here, some of the threads too. So this is how the silkworm, it spins silk around itself, and finally it makes a white color coat around itself, and that coat is known as cocoon. You can see this one picture. So this is how the caterpillar, it stays safe inside the cocoon. Okay, so by stage number 3, we got to know that the caterpillar, they are responsible to make silk. Stage number 4, the caterpillar stays safe inside the cocoon and grows into a moth. A moth comes out of cocoon. So in the previous stage, we got to know that the caterpillar, spins they spin they spins the silk into a cocoon, and this is we got at the end a coated white color thing. Then in the next step, this stage is basically the stage where the caterpillar, it comes out, the caterpillar, it stays safe inside the cocoon, and later on, after some days, 3 or 5 days, it comes out in the form of moth. This is how it is. You can see here a moth comes out of cocoon, the white color cocoon. It break itself, and then it came out again in the form of moth. This is how it is, and you can see the colored picture as well. So this is how the silkworm, it again converts itself back into moth, and this is the final step of the life cycle of silkworm. The people of China started making silk, keeping silk moths about 5,000 years ago. They wove the silk to make cloth. Now this technique is 5,000 years old technique, and the people of China, they started keeping the silk worms or silk moths so that they can make the silk, and they can sell it to whole world. We people have idea about the Silk Road as well, that connects Pakistan and China. So we have this idea that China is the major producer of silk. So they make silk and then they trade it or they sell it out to the whole world. They sell their silk all over the world. The Chinese silk traders traveled along the ancient Silk Road to take silk to places far away. So the Chinese traders, or the people who are selling the silk, what they do is they travel by using Silk Road that connects Pakistan and China, and then they took their silk to far off the lands, and then they sell their silk over there. Towns and cities grew up along the road because silk traders stopped along the way. Now, along the Silk Road, there are some small cities, some small towns are made so that the traders, they could stop over there and they could feed themselves, or they stay overnight over there. Now, one interesting thing is no one in the whole wide world know how to make silk. The Chinese kept it secret. So Chinese, they didn't let anyone know, any country know how to make silk. Only they have this idea, and this technique is like 5,000 years old technique. So Chinese people, they are making silk from like 5,000 years ago, and they are selling it out to the whole world. Okay, now just for your information, this is the type of cloth we got at the end when the silk is made, or the silk threads, it wove into silk, the cloth silk. So this is what we called. I'm sure you people saw the silk cloth at your homes as well. So this is about your today's lesson, and about your ancient China as well. I hope you people enjoy finding new things about ancient China. Now there is a homework question. So what you have to do is you have to draw and label the life cycle of silkworm. You can take help from your textbook, page number 75 as well. And there are some video links which you go through it. In the first video link, you will got to know about how the silk basically is formed in China. Then you got to know about how the silkworm, the life cycle of silkworm in a video form. And lastly, you're going to learn how the silk is converted into the cloth silk, how the silk threads is converted into the cloth silk. This is about your today's lesson. Thank you so much and stay safe.